Next up in our Big 12 preview is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And Dalton, they kind of finished 2023 the same as the previous 2 years. They had at least 7 wins and a bowl game victory, the same as they've done in 2021 and 2022. And the engine of that offense is back for another year, and that is Tahj Brooks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is really, it's kind of, he reminds me a little bit of Audrey Estime from Notre Dame last year. He's a big 230-pound truck that's just trying to carry this whole offense on his back, right? But no, I think it's another really good example of you've got just a boatload of teams in the Big 12 with great running games, and Texas Tech is another one, right? Because of Brooks' 92.1 rushing grade was a top 5 mark in the Power 5 last year. The guy's just, you cannot arm tackle this guy, man. He's as physical, maybe the most physical back in the entire country. So when you come into Lubbock and you're playing Texas Tech, you better bring your extra padded shoulder pads, because Tahj Brooks is coming to hit you.
He absolutely is, man. He's almost like a Derrick Henry for the Titans, where, you know, how they gave him the ball at Alabama and even Tennessee. Gave him the ball like 40, 45 times a game and just grinded out. Tahj Brooks had 292 carries last year, man. That was the most in the Power 5. Like, this guy was really the engine, not only the engine of the offense, Dalton, he was the entire car of this offense last year, basically, was Tahj Brooks. And that's really the biggest weakness for them, dude, is will this offense be one-dimensional once again? They really struggled to get anything going outside of Tahj Brooks. They were 104th in the country in terms of EPA per pass, and you lose 3 of your top 4 pass catchers from last year as well. Now, I will say, they brought in a couple really good transfers in tight end Jalen Conyers from Arizona State, who I think is one of the best tight ends that we have in college football. He's a menace after the catch. They brought in Josh Kelly from Washington State, who was a really good receiver at Washington State last year. And also, Dalton, I know you're not going to like this, brought in a 5-star freshman receiver in Micah Hudson as well. So he could figure into that passing game too. So I actually, you know, like I said, they lost 3 of their top 4 pass catchers, but I actually really liked what they did this offseason to address that issue. But there's a serious question mark in terms of who is getting them the football and how good Behren Morton will be in terms of getting them the football. So tell me more about him, Dalton. What did you see when you studied his tape?
The word is inconsistent, Max. I mean, he played in 10 games last year, and in every game, his passing grade was either above 70 or below 50. It can vary from drive to drive and throw to throw and game to game. And look, it helps to get your supporting cast a lot better like that. Like, when you have a question mark at quarterback, well, if we get him a bunch of weapons, maybe he'll be better. And he needs to be, right? Only 6 yards per attempt last year, and that was one of the lowest marks in the Power 5. But it's a guy who occasionally you see he'll make a good throw, you know, on a go ball outside. He's not a great athlete, but sometimes he makes some decent throws on the move. But there's just too much inconsistency and too many times where his play alone basically sinks a game, right? Like in 4 games, he, you know, accounted for 11 of his 15 turnover-worthy plays. Like, you just can't get in streaks where all of a sudden you're telegraphing balls and giving the ball away and throwing pick sixes, right? So the big mistakes are a problem. They really are. You just cannot miss open guys. You can't telegraph throws on first reads, especially the wide side of the field. Behren Morton getting more consistent, even with an improved supporting cast, is the key to their season, or they will be one-dimensional again, even with those new weapons.
Yeah, and he's fortunate, right, to have a superstar running back in Tahj Brooks, who we'll highlight a little bit more in our offensive player spotlight right now. He's a massive dude, right? He's 5'10", 230 pounds, which is, you can understand why he's able to sustain 292 carries in a season with how big he is. I mean, he's inflicting more punishment on the defenders, Dalton, than they are on him, right? So he is hitting them more than they are hitting him. He has 96 forced missed tackles this past season, was 4th in the country. He led the nation in terms of forced missed tackles, and he was 4th in the country in terms of yards after contact with 998 and 1,547 rushing yards, also 4th in the country. 96 of his carries went for either a first down or a touchdown. That led the nation this past season. So he doesn't really add much as a receiver, but he's one of the best and most physical runners that you'll find in college football right now.
Absolutely. There was a clip in that shot right there of him hurdling somebody, and a guy that big hurdling a safety or somebody like that is just a scary, scary sight. But luckily, Texas Tech has a safety who doesn't have to get hurdled by Tahj Brooks every day, and that's CJ Baskerville. And last year a lot of the spotlight was on Daedron Taylor Demerson, and now he's in the NFL. Baskerville, though, was the second best Big 12 safety last year, and he's just an excellent, excellent tackler, a really fundamentally sound player. Just a 1% missed tackle rate last year, which was the lowest among all safeties in the country. Good cover guy, really good run support guy, just a physical all-around player back there, much like Taylor Demerson was last year. Texas Tech is not hurting its safety, losing actually 2 starters to the NFL.
No, absolutely not, man. So what do you think the bottom line is for this Texas Tech team right now? They play a relatively easier schedule. They have a 63rd hardest schedule in the country according to our power rankings right now. On the back of Tahj Brooks, and maybe these new weapons for Baron Morton really help him out. What are you expecting out of the Red Raiders in 2024?
I mean, they're still decent, right? They're coached reasonably well. Tahj Brooks is really, really good. He's a problem, man. I don't care who your front seven is. Tahj Brooks is going to cause you issues. And this is a team even last year that played a really, really tight game with Oregon. One of the few tight games that Oregon played all season was at Texas Tech. So, look, they have potential, but this quarterback situation worries me, I honestly. And I know they've got better weapons, and maybe Morton takes a step with these weapons, but you can't give the football away, right? You just can't have 3 to 4 to 5 games where you're clearly losing the turnover battle because you get rattled. It just can't happen. So another year of experience is good. Coming into the season as the full-time starter might give him some confidence, because last year at the beginning it was still Tyler Shuck before he got hurt again. I mean, Morton is a huge question mark for this team. The quarterback spot is a huge question mark. I think they're a bowl game type of team like they were last year. I think Tahj Brooks is a serious problem for opposing defenses, but until we know that this quarterback situation is stable, it's hard to put them towards the top of the Big 12.
I agree with that. I think they're more of like a 6 or 7 win team as of right now. We actually even talked about the defense. They have some serious defensive questions, man. There were 14 defensive players last year who played 300 snaps for Texas Tech, and only 6 of them came back to school, right? So they have a lot of holes in that defense to fill. So they have to have some inexperienced players step up for that defense in order to do that. And they also just see some guys outside Tahj Brooks on offense, specifically Baron Morton, to step up, because I really do like what they have in that receiving core. But it's just a matter of because it doesn't really matter if you don't have a quarterback who can consistently get them the football, right? So that is the big question: is can Baron Morton step up with these improved receiving core and become more viable as a passer, or will it just be Texas Tech running the football and hopefully trying to get something out of their defense as well? So again, I think they could have their 4th consecutive winning season, but they're probably need more than just Tahj Brooks in order to do that. But that's what we got for our preview of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Hey, thanks for watching the PFF College Football Show. Before I let you go, though, we have an unbelievable deal for you guys right now. If you use the code CFB25, you get 25% off your PFF Plus annual subscription. We've got the 2024 College Football Preview Guide that you can find over at pff.com, featuring the best players in the country from all 70 Power 5 teams, plus 10 Group of 5 teams that have the best chance at making the college football playoff as well. You can also gain access to NCAA premium stats for historical games, teams, and player tracking dating all the way back to 2014, so the last decade or so of college football. All the stats you can hope for, you can find in PFF Premium as well. Also, you can be the GM of your favorite NFL team with our unbelievable mock draft simulator, where you can draft up to 7 rounds of players for your NFL team. And if you want to dominate your fantasy league, you could do that as well using the best fantasy tools on the planet. All of that and more with your PFF Plus annual subscription, which you can find for 25% off right now with the code you can find in the description. Or if you want to go to subscribe.pff.com and use the code CFB25 at checkout. Again, you get 25% off your PFF Plus subscription. This won't last forever, so make sure you take advantage of it right now.